Teddy Covers coming to us live from Las Vegas, Nevada. Teddy Covers, Friday morning. How you doing, my man?
I'm doing good. Jimmy, how about yourself, man? Good analysis. I enjoyed listening to Jay Money right there, man. Good stuff.
Yeah, he's great. Revenge Game Jay. I love it. I love it. I have not made any moves on this NBA card still. Just kind of computing all of this analysis and all these breakdowns. What have you done with this NBA card?
So I made two moves. I took Atlanta as a home dog. I think I got a +3 in that game. +2.5 or +3. I couldn't believe Sacramento was taking money. Yeah, +2.5. I'm sorry. I thought I had a +3. I put +2.5 in my pocket. I was just looking at my spreadsheet. Talk about the spreadsheets. Because sometimes you're making bets. What did you get? Well, did I get a +2 or +3.5? +2.5 with the Atlanta Hawks. The talk from Atlanta after their no-show game against the Bulls the other night was, let's not do that again. So I think they're going to come to play, and I didn't see any reason that Sacramento, asking Sacramento to cover as a dog is one thing. Asking Sacramento to win a game and win it by margin on the road is another. And I'm a Hawks believer, and I think it's the right spot for Atlanta. So I took Atlanta +2.5, and I laid with Dallas. We're gonna be betting against the Knicks every game or close to it. This is the worst team in the NBA. And when you read the quotes out of the Knicks locker room, they know it. And they're not expecting to get any better anytime soon. It's already a long season for the Knickerbockers. So I'm not a huge fan of laying doubles with Dallas, but I'm betting against the Knicks. And I laid 11 with Dallas.
Understandably so. Backing Mavericks as a big favorite and the Hawks as a home dog. Anthony Mastinardi says, I'm telling Teddy on Atlanta. I just needed to hear him be on them too, and that's what you have heard. All right, there is the NBA coverage, and we only have 20 minutes with Teddy, so we got to milk him for everything we can get. Let's get into NCAA football as fast as possible. Did you make any additions on yesterday's show with Babano?
I'll tell you everything. Honestly, I couldn't tell you what I did one day versus the next, but I can tell you what I got in college football for the week. I played Temple last night. They got there. I got Oregon State tonight. I played Wake. These are stuff that I played on Monday. Wake -2.5. I thought I was getting a great line. I'm not getting a great line. I got the Gophers +7 in pocket. I'm glad I put the 7 in my pocket. I got LSU +6.5 in pocket. I'm glad I got that number in pocket. Iowa. I think I added Iowa yesterday. Iowa +9.5. That's down to 9, betting number 193. And they added one today, too. And it's an ugly underdog, and I can't talk myself out of it. Game number 143, I bet Vandy, +27 against the Gators. I understand Vandy's got now their third-string quarterback, and they're going to do a little QB rotation this week. That's fine. The quotes from Mason are one guy can run, one guy can throw. We're going to give him some different looks. It's not like their quarterback play has been working anyway. So Vandy doesn't get worse with the QB changes. And Florida's not built to cover numbers like this. It's the wrong spot for the Gator. You look at their last 4 games and then this week, they played big game, and this is the exhale week. Gators are going to win this game by a couple of touchdowns. I don't see them winning it by 4 touchdowns. Took Vandy plus the points.
I love it. And I had all the earlier ones written down. A lot of people back in your Oregon State +6. Questions coming in from Suze387 and Tommy Bolt. I am copying and pasting them. Here we go, copying and pasting them. Feel free to fire in your questions right now. And that's the first time I've seen Teddy take such a big dog, which I find very, very interesting and very appealing. Let's start off with today's action. We already know he's on Oregon State. We'll get to that game. Why don't we start with that game? So you're already on Oregon State plus the points. A lot of people in the chat agreeing with that. This total is sitting at 65. Tell us more about why you're backing Oregon State. You were on them since Monday, and what you think about this total.
And look, Oregon State's a square side in this game, very clearly. A couple leading indicator books are saying that the wise guys like the Huskies. And from a defensive standpoint, when you look at Washington's defensive stats, you look at Oregon State's defensive stats, you can make a clear case for the road favorite. I get it. I don't care. All right. Oregon State is a bottom feeder that is on the way up. And this is when you make money in college football. When you take a team that's been priced here and now they're playing at this level, it can take months for the betting market to catch up, and that's been the case for the Beavers. That's why they've been a good point spread team, and that's why I continue to think they'll be a good point spread team. When you talk about a QB that's under the radar, Luton with a 19-to-1 touchdown interception ratio, ain't nobody talking about that. Eason's supposed to be the guy, and if you've watched Washington, I'm starting to think it might be the coaching because, Browning was supposed to be all that, and Browning was not good, and Browning got worse against the better opponents that he faced. And Easton was supposed to be all that. And at the beginning of the season, I'm like, wow, this guy's, showing. And he's not showing signs. There's been regression. It's a Huskies team that came into the season with enormous expectations. Now they're 4-4. I'm not willing to ask that team to win by more than 10 points on the road against a team that's surging and getting good quarterback play despite the defensive disparity. So I understand why the Sharps like the defensive favorite here, and why they're laying the points, but not me. I want the dog in this one.
Backing in the dog here. And our Cuban Connect interested in the over in this spot. It's sitting at 65. What do you think of the total here?
No, I'm not going to bet a Huskies game over. I'm not. That's not the way they're built. And even if they're trailing, I don't know, they can chuck the football around. Maybe they can. But I wouldn't talk you out of it. I'm not playing the under. It's just a pass for me.
Just a pass. We have questions coming in fast and furious, but we have one more spot this evening. UCF Tulsa. UCF opening up at -16, now -17. This total opening up at 70.5. It's dropped 2 points to 68.5. There are still a couple 69s out there. Teddy, UCF Tulsa.
I'm not playing this one for sure. I mean, UCF, for all of that, what have they covered? 1 point spread since week 3? I mean, they've been overvalued, period. Week in, week out. They've been a bad point spread team. They have not been capable of laying these big numbers, whether it's against UConn or whether it's against East Carolina or whether it's against Houston last week. They're not getting the job done, ATS. The markets have overpriced the Knights, and that's a team that I'm not excited about this point spread. No, I'm not laying it with UCF. That being said, I worry the heck out of Tulsa. There was a lot of hope for Tulsa coming to the campaign. And, with the brutal losses that they suffered, that triple overtime against SMU, and then that Memphis game with the missed extra point or whatever it was, it's been harder and harder for this team to get off the mat. And now it's been 5 straight losses. They're not going bowling. And if UCF punches them, I'm not convinced Tulsa can punch back. So I don't want the dog here either. Maybe we lean over. But again, there's no great value with this total going over the total. Not the way Tulsa plays. And it's easy enough to see if Tulsa gets down. All right, the offense, it's not a dynamic offense necessarily. I could picture a scenario in which if Tulsa gets beat and then they're not scoring and then the game stays under and UCF covers. I could picture a scenario in which UCF gets to 50. So, and the game goes over and UCF covers. There's a lot of different scenarios here. Not a game I'm playing.
Matt Randall interested in the under in this spot. Anthony Mastinardi said Tulsa just suffered their 7th loss. And when teams hit their 7th loss, usually suffer a really bad loss right after. Don't have a stat on that right now. Randy Lockhart backing Tulsa plus 17.5. And again, Matt Randall liking the under in that spot. All right, questions coming in fast and furious. We have 2 people asking about the same game. Let's get to that right off the hop, and that is Sue's 387 and Moses Saucedo. So Sue's 387 says, Teddy, is Hawaii giving too many points? And Moses Saucedo says San Jose State plus 7 versus Hawaii. I see San Jose State and Hawaii trading TDs. Hawaii opens at -7. Now they're at -8, although Bet365 hanging at 7.5, and this total sitting at 76.5 for 77. Teddy, San Jose State, Hawaii.
All right, so things that I'm not looking to do. Number 1, lay points with Hawaii at home. At Aloha Stadium, I got them 4-17 against the spread. Their last 21 tries laying points. They laid points to Oregon State early in the year, lost that. One straight up, lost ATS. And this is not a defense to lay points with. It's not 59, 56, 31, 41 the last 4 games. And the 31 came against New Mexico. They can't score 31 points. I still don't know how they got that high. 500 yards against Hawaii's defense. Can't lay points with Hawaii. All right, so the San Jose side is brutal. All right, they played at Army, no bye, at home, now in Hawaii. That's a 7 time zone difference in a 3-week span. And then they looked gassed at the end in the 4th quarter against Boise last week. I really worried about San Jose showing this week or not showing. My gut reaction was to look at the over in this ballgame. Absolutely. These are 2 quarterbacks who can chuck it around. They're playmakers on both teams. Neither defense is good. My gut reaction is absolutely looking at the over. All that said, if San Jose doesn't show, San Jose's gassed, I worry about the offense getting their fair share. And then Hawaii's going to cover as a home chalk. And I can't trust Hawaii to cover his home chalk because they never cover his home chalk. So it's a hard game. Lean over. I have not pulled the trigger.
Leaning to the over, and we have questions coming in fast and furious. Dan DBC has 2 questions. The second question is right in front of us, so I'll ask it, and then I'll ask you his first question. Louisiana Tech, Dan DBC saying, you think Louisiana Tech can cover 5.5 at home over North Texas?
I'm not a huge North Texas fan. I'm really not. And even there's been a bad point spread team. And even last week where they finally got a big blowout win and everything broke right, they were up 14-0 with like 14 minutes left in the first. They had a big play touchdown and then the fumble and then another touchdown. And, they're not a team I'm excited about. So I guess if I'm playing, I would be laying with La Tech. Although the role that I like Skip Holtzen is not necessarily in the favorites role.
The next question from Dan DBC. We're keeping a great pace, by the way. Thank you, Teddy. The next spot is Georgia State, Louisiana Monroe. Dan says, do you like Georgia State -2.5 road favorites here?
Look, Georgia State, they've done some impressive stuff. But do I like him as road chalk? No, this is not a game I have a strong opinion on. La Monroe can put points on the board, and when they do, it's not necessarily... It's not a game I got a strong opinion on. I really don't. Sorry. Pass.
No problem. Then we have Tommy Bolt wanting to make a move on Illinois against Michigan State in East Lansing. Do you think he should pull the trigger?
So my first reaction was Illinois. My second reaction was Illinois. My third reaction was Illinois. When it came down to pulling the trigger, I didn't do it. There's a couple of reasons why. It's a very negative subset when you're talking about the team off 3 straight wins versus the team off 3 straight losses, and the team off 3 straight losses is laying double digits. It's a super, it was like a 20 to 80, 20% subset. It's the technicals pointing towards the Spartans are really strong. Illinois' offense is what it is. They're winning these games because they're winning the turnover battle and they're getting scores on defense and they're putting their offense in position where they don't have to do a whole lot. That's not going to last forever. It isn't. And you can have a nice run where your defense is winning games and covering point spreads. I worry that they run out of gas here. And Sparty, again, when you talk about a circle the wagon spot, 3 straight losses, bye week, home, they're supposed to be paying a whole lot of attention this week. And I worry about it getting away from Illinois. Free bet, I do take the Illini still, but they were on my short list, and I made the decision not to pull the trigger on the Fighting Illini this week.
Rye Cape wondering about this big spot, Penn State, Minnesota. We know you're already on Minnesota. The total at 48 is a spot that Noli knows is going under it. Why are you backing the Gophers, and what do you think of going on the under in this game?
So I'm backing the Gophers for 2 reasons. No, more than 2 reasons. There's always a million reasons. When you start asking me why, Jimmy, then we lose our pace. So let's start with this. I don't trust Penn State as road chalk in this range. We've seen Penn State on the highway against good teams. That offense is not moving the ball up and down the field. Second, Minnesota is a team that I've seen respond well to adversity on multiple occasions this season. They can take a punch, and they punch back. I like the character of that squad. I've liked them from day one. And even though they weren't covering spreads early on, they found ways to win tough games early on. They're a competitive team, and I trust them to take a punch and punch back. Last but not least, the Gophers have been an undervalued commodity, flat out. They're better than people think they are. Even in this point spread range, I think they're better than people think they are. They can win this game. They can hang with Penn State. Maybe the Nittany Lions are just too fast and too strong. And look, Minnesota hasn't been a dog in any game this season. All they've done is beat the weak teams. I'm with you. I understand. But I think they're capable of stepping up against the strong teams. The markets don't think that, and that's why they're dog in this range.
Eddie Euler asking about rotation number 195, 196, Washington State, California. Washington State opening a 7.5-point favorite. That's where they stand right now. The total opened up at 51. Is now at 51, 52, or 52.5. Pinnacle leading the charge towards the over. Eddie Euler says, Teddy, don't really get this Washington State-Cal spread. Can Cal hang in there with their great D?
I'm not convinced that they can. Decent chance going to be Monster this week for the Bears, who's a backup as opposed to the third stringer. I'm not a Monster fan. Better runner than thrower. But again, not like Wazoo's defense is dominant. But again, for Cal to get to 17 is a lot of work. They haven't scored more than 17 since September, since the middle of September. And they haven't gotten last 4 games. 245 yards, 256 yards, 282 yards, 85 yards of offense. I don't see that improving by leaps and bounds. Washington State's going to score touchdowns against anybody. It's what they do. I guess I lean road favorite here. I wouldn't ask this game to go over the total. I'm not asking any. Cal's a team I will not ask to go over the total. They've cashed one over in 8 games so far this season. Under in every Cal game, and with a total in the 50s. I'm not going to ask them to get there.
Next question comes in from Alexander Lopez, rotation number 125, 126, Louisville, Miami. Miami opening up at -5, now 6.5 and 7s. Actually, there's only one 6.5. That's at Bovada, 7 everywhere else. This total opened up at 51, now down to 49. Alexander Lopez says, do the Canes stay hot and take out Louisville in NCAA football? Their quarterback is playing much better.
He is, and so my initial reaction for this game, I looked at Louisville plus. I'm like, Louisville plus, and I started reading the local paper, and I'm like, no. There's a different confidence level in Miami now. And this is a team that has the potential to come on down the stretch. And I'm not going to say live up to expectations, but not be underachieving. Now, I don't love the roll. We've seen back-to-back wins for the Hurricanes as dogs. Now they're laying points. I didn't get to the window with Miami against, and Satterfield and Louisville have been a great point spread team. What they did against Virginia before the bye shocked me a little bit. I didn't think they were capable of doing that. And there was nothing fraudulent about that win over the Cavs. But I worry about Louisville in the that Miami defensive front is dynamite. I mean, they're blowing up teams at the line of scrimmage, and that concerns me against Louisville here. Miami's defense is a good notch too better. So my initial lean was towards the dog. I talked myself out of it, not playing the favorite, but the info and the stuff I was reading didn't make me excited about the Louisville side.
Next question coming in from our guy, Datfire TV. Says, hi, Jimmy, can you ask Teddy about the Oklahoma game? 173, 174, rotation number 9th ranked Oklahoma opening up as 13-point favorites. Now 14, 14.5, or 15. This total gone from 67, and they're 67.5s, they're 68s, and Pinnacle leading the charge to 69. Teddy covers Iowa State, Oklahoma.
So I pay no attention to the college football playoff standings. Other people do. And coaches do. What did Oklahoma come out? They were like 8th or 9th or something. I know they weren't. They certainly weren't in the top 4 or the top 5. That's what this line is about. Okay, Oklahoma's got a national TV game on Saturday night, and the thought process is they want to put a whipping on somebody, and they want to put themselves in position to win out and get in, and that's why this line moved flat out. And I get it. And we've seen teams, the Boise game last week where Boise punched, Boise's up 3 and they can take a knee, but they punch in a touchdown late. If Oklahoma has the chance, they will run up the score here. Absolutely. If they have the chance, they will punch in another touchdown late. They're not taking a knee. And that concerns me to the Iowa State side. But on the other hand, we've got a defensive pedigree underdog who's shown, each of the last 3 years, Lincoln Riley doesn't have any covers against Iowa State. Cyclones have been a tough out for the Sooners. Cyclones won straight up their last trip to Norman. And at 14.5, I mean, my initial lean was towards Iowa State. My lean is still towards Iowa State. I didn't pull the trigger because I worry about that extra motivation for Oklahoma to run up a score if they have the chance. So lean Iowa State, haven't pulled the trigger.
Love it. And we have to put a bow on this show very soon. There's so many questions here. I just picked one that I thought was very interesting, and it's from Scott. Shout out to Barry Block, who says my wife's birthday's today, so she'll be at the casino spending the money y'all made me last night with the over in the Raiders. Much love to you, Barry Block, and happy birthday to your wife. Scott says, can you ask Teddy about buying the hook and getting LSU +7? And then he says, when should I buy or not buy a hook? I don't buy hooks. I don't. People ask, when should I buy the hooks? You can buy the hook whenever you want to. I don't do it. And honestly, the 6.5s are disappearing quickly. So if you're going to buy the hook, I do it sooner rather than later. And if you can get it for 10 cents, I wouldn't talk you out of it. It's just not something that I choose to do. I don't like laying 120 when I can lay 110. And if Alabama wins by 7, I'll be, God damn it. The guy in the chat was right. But I think LSU's capable, and I have no interest in laying 120 when I can lay 110. I understand that. Let's quickly touch on NFL very, very quickly. And we had a question from Anthony Devonte. He says, please ask about Steelers this Sunday. I think they will win, but I will take the +3.5. Let's move over to NFL here at the best odds page in the business, sportsreview.com SBR odds page here. And here we are. NFL Rams Pittsburgh opens at +4. There is a +4 at a bunch of books and also +3.5. What do you think of Rams Pittsburgh?
And, that SBR live odds page is really good. If you got to have it bookmarked, you got to be looking at it all the time. I have it up all day. It's worth having up. So all that said, I, too, am a Steelers believer. I made a case yesterday the Steelers were going to win this division. They're 6-1 to win the division. I'm like, that might be worth a look. To make the playoffs, they weren't even 2-1. Look at Pittsburgh's schedule down the stretch compared to Baltimore, who they're chasing in the division. It's not close. That Week 17 game at Baltimore could well decide the division. I am a Steelers believer. And this is a Jared Goff game, all right? Pittsburgh, defensively, spot on, all right? You're not going to run against the Steelers. No one's done it. The Rams, why aren't they as good this year as they were last year? 4.9 yards per carry last year, 3.9 yards per carry this year. Steelers stopped the run. That means Goff's got to beat you. Not once, not twice. Now we've seen it like 5 times where Goff stinks against good defenses. I can't lay with the Rams. It's Steelers or pass for me.
Steelers or pass for you. What are your looks on this NFL card here? And we got to be very, very tight. Sorry, we can't break it down more. And you've been excellent with pace here. NFL Sunday, what do you have? Any looks?
Jets, Jets. That's your look. All right, Giants can't be lying. A field goal now? Dude, the world hasn't collapsed for the Jets. They were 1.5-point favorites last week at this time. All right? Okay, they had a bad game. Look at the Jets' schedule. All right, go through every game and find me a defense that's worse than that's anywhere near as bad as the Giants. Giants can't be laying 3 here. Jets are an obvious choice for this better.
Makes me uncomfortable. I'm already on the Giants. What else do you have on this card, or is that your only look? Jets.
That's my favorite look for Sun. Well, I like Green Bay as well. I certainly wouldn't talk anyone out of the Packers against Carolina. This is Green Bay's got the bye next week. They're off a no-show game. They're back at home, and they're against a team that I don't trust to throw the ball well from behind. Packers' defensive numbers are crappy for the last month. Why? They've been facing good offenses. Panthers' offense is okay. I like Green Bay.
Big Guru saying Teddy right on with the New York Jets. Mally Mal laughing because they just lost to the Fish. And Teddy also backing Green Bay. Teddy, incredible job. Thank you so much for joining us. Quickly going over his looks. Oregon State +10, Wake Forest -2.5, Illinois +13, Minnesota +7, Iowa +9.5, LSU +6.5. And then today he's added Vanderbilt +27. A treat to roll with you. It was a very tight show. You were spectacular with the pace. Follow this man, Teddy_covers. Teddy, have a great weekend, my friend, and thank you for sharing your insights and all your hard work with us.
My pleasure, man. I love the rapid pace, dude. Let's get out of here. Have a great Friday. Have a great weekend, guys. Knock 'em dead out there.